Hello friend, Assalamu alaikum. This is my YouTube channel Computer Technology. Welcome to all my friend YouTube channel. Subscribe, like and share करें मेरे YouTube चैनल को. आज का हमारा टॉपिक है मदरबोर्ड के बारे में, पावर सप्लाईज के बारे में और केसेस के बारे में. कंप्यूटर केसेस. Types of cases. There are three main types of cases: desktop, classic, slimline, all-in-one, tower, mini-sized, mid-sized, full-sized, portable. Desktop classic. Classic design conserves space, commonly used in business, typically positioned horizontally on desks with a monitor normally sitting on the top. Desktop slimline. Advantages और इसमें डिसएडवांटेजेस क्या हैं? वर्क स्टेशन इन लार्ज कंपनीज, ग्रेट कंप्यूटर फॉर लो बजट पीसी, ग्रेट फॉर ऑल वर्क स्पेसेस. डिसएडवांटेजेस इसकी क्या हैं? जनरली लिटिल आर नो रूम फॉर एडिंग एडिशनल peripherals, usually require an LPX motherboard. All-in-one desktop. Pros: maximizes desk space. Cons: expensive. Mini tower, typically 12-18 tall, 3 internal drive base, limited room for upgrading. Mid towers, typically 24 tall, 4 internal drive base, most common case used worldwide, can be placed above or below computer desks, used for simple business and advanced system. Full tower, 30 or tower, 6-10 internal drive base, many external drives, spacious inside, typically seen in servers, mainframes and advanced workstations. Front panel bezel, removable plastic panel, covers any empty base, appealing look. Power button reboot. Case badges. Sticker often found on the front of the computer identify hardware or software installed. Can be purchased and placed on computer cases. Back panel. Back panel, computer case and each connection. PS2 part, keyboard, mouse and USB ports, sound ports, sound out, sound in, microphone, MIDI game port and video card game port, network card, modem and main power cable. What does the inside of the case look like? Before adding components. After adding components: CD-ROM, power cable, floppy drive, data cable, hard disk drive, power supply, processor, fan, memory, expansion card and slots. Customization, upgrading, video card, RAM, hard drive, expansion base. System cooling, prevents computer from overheating. Two types: fans and liquid cooling. Fans, traditional, inexpensive, multiple in each case. Liquid cooling system, cooler, international temperate, quitter, cleaning elements, germs, remove dust from air intakes, speed up computer. How often should I clean my computer case? Take this short quiz to find out. Case modeling, fun contest, give a personalized touch, get creative with your mood. Really बेजारी. अब हम पढ़ेंगे पावर सप्लाई के बारे में, जो हमारा पार्ट 1 है इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के बारे में. मेयर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, वोल्ट, अ मेयर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिकल प्रेशर डिफरेंशियल, AMP और एम्पेयर. A measure of electrical current, OHM, a measure of resistance to electricity, watt, a measure of electrical power. अब हम पढ़ेंगे AC और DC. AC क्या है और DC क्या है. AC में आता है अल्टरनेटिंग करंट और DC में आता है डायरेक्ट करंट. और AC में आता है गोज बैक एंड फोर्थ, ऑस्किलेट्स, एंड DC में आता है ट्रेवल्स इन वन डायरेक्शन. AC में आता है वोल्टेज अल्टरनेट फ्रॉम +110 वोल्टेज टू -110 वोल्टेज. और DC में क्या था, द टाइप ऑफ करंट मोस्ट इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डिवाइसेस रिक्वायर. टू इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कंपोनेंट्स, कैपेसिटर, डायोड. एन कैपेसिटर में क्या आता है, एन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डिवाइस डेट कैन होल्ड एन इलेक्ट्रिकल चार्ज फॉर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. और डायोड में क्या आता है, अ सेमीकोड कंडक्टर डिवाइस डेट अलाउज इलेक्ट्रिसिटी टू फ्लो इन ओनली वन डायरेक्शन. और कैपेसिटर में दूसरा क्या आता है, कैन स्मूथ द अनइवन फ्लो ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी थ्रू अ सर्किट. और डायोड में क्या आता है, यूज्ड इन वेरियस कॉन्फ़िगरेशंस, कैन कन्वर्ट टू AC टू DC. और कैपेसिटर में क्या आता है, इनसाइड द पावर सप्लाई. अब हम पढ़ेंगे पावर सप्लाई के बारे में, जो हमारा पार्ट 2 है, कॉमन कनेक्टर्स. P120+4 pin connector is the main motherboard power connector. Can also have 4 pins removed to fit 20 pin P1 connector. 4 pin 12 voltage auxiliary motherboard connector used for extra power to the processor. 8 pin 12 voltage auxiliary motherboard connector used for extra power to the processor. Molex 4 pin connector used for IDE drives. SATA connector used for SATA drives and has 15 pins. Floppy drive connector 6 pin plus 2 minus pin plus 12 voltage connector used by high-end video card using PCIe multiply 16 clouds. अब हम आएंगे अपने पार्ट नंबर 3 पे. वो क्या है, पावर सप्लाई. थिंग्स टू कंसिडर. द फॉर्म फैक्टर विल डिटरमाइन व्हाट साइज पावर सप्लाई एंड द प्लेसमेंट ऑफ द स्क्रू होल्स. Different cables are needed for the different computer setup. Some power supplies have voltage selector which such in the US ensure the switch is set off 115. 4. Look at the voltage rating found on the side of the power supply and in the documentation. 5th. Consider the warranty and quality. मॉड्यूलर पावर सप्लाई. इसमें हम पढ़ेंगे इसके एडवांटेजेस और डिसएडवांटेजेस. एडवांटेजेस में क्या है, अनयूज्ड कनेक्टर्स कैन बी रिमूव्ड. डिसएडवांटेजेस में क्या है, मॉड्यूलर केबल्स एड इलेक्ट्रिकल रेजिस्टेंस. विदाउट द क्लटर एयर फ्लो इज इम्प्रूव्ड. और डिसएडवांटेजेस में क्या है, दिस रेजिस्टेंस कुड इफेक्ट परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द पावर सप्लाई एंड द रेस्ट ऑफ द कंप्यूटर इन रन. Uninterruptible power supply provide backup power in the event that the AC fails completely. Provides power long enough for you to save your work and shut down the computer during a blackout. Has several outlets which to plug the system into. Interesting side notes. A computer power supply changes in the condition the house electrical current in the several ways. Functioning is both a transformer and a rectifier. It steps down the voltage from the 110 volt house current to 3.35 and 12 volts. Components: chipsets, expansion slots and buses, memory slots and external cache, CPU and processor slots or sockets, power connectors on board, disk drive connectors, keyboard connectors, peripheral ports and connector, BIOS, CMOS, battery, jumpers and DIP switches, firmware, chipsets. North bridge used to be the MCC memory controller chip. Instead of acting just as the interconnection between the RAM and the CPU as previous, it was given extra power to act as the interconnection between the CPU and other devices on the PC. Thus given the name North bridge because it acts as the primary bridge between the CPU and the rest of piece. Chipsets, North bridge and South bridge, are sold as pairs to the motherboard manufacturers called chipsets. The terms North bridge and South bridge are rarely used anymore because modern chipsets consist of only 2 or 3 chips, but TECHNOOGY still continue to use the terms. Expansion slots and buses. Modern expansion buses, PCI peripheral components interconnect, 32 bits wide and 3.33 mHz speed, self-configuring AGP accelerated graphic port, 32 bits wide, 66 mHz speed, self-configuring, replaced ICA. PCIX peripheral component interconnect extended, found in Macintosh G5, 64-bit wide, 66 speed, 133 mHz speed, 266 mHz speed, 533 mHz speed. Modern expansion buses, mini PCI used in the laptop because it was designed to lie flat. PCI Express, latest and fastest, has a direct connection to North bridge, 32 bits wide. Modern expansion buses. Modern expansion buses. Memory slots. Number of pins can range from 100 to 240. Types: DRAM, dynamic random access memory; SDRAM, synchronous DRAM; DDR, double data rate, DDR2 and DDR3. CPU sockets, PGA pin grid array, LGA land grid array. Socket number determines how many pins: AM3 941 pins and AM2 940 pins. Onboard disk drive connectors. PATA parallel advantages technologies. Attachment: 16, 33, 66, 100, 133 MB per second. SATA serial advanced technology attachment: 1.5, 3.0, 6.0 GB per second. Keyboard connectors. Two main types of wide keyboard connectors: PC2 style popular, AT connector all but extinct. The PC2 style connectors remain popular but is quickly being replaced by USB attached keyboard. Peripheral ports and connectors. In order for computer to be useful and have the most functionality, there needs to be a way to get data into and out. Many ports are available for this purpose, as you can see on the right. BIOS, basic input output system chip. The initial function of the BIOS is to identify, test and initialize system devices such as the video display card, hard disk, floppy disk and other hardware. The BIOS sets the machine hardware into a known state so that software stored on compatible media can be loaded, executed and given control of the PC. CMOS battery. Your PC has to keep certain setting when it's turned off and its power and code is unplugged. Settings such as date, time, hard drive configuration, memory, integrated ports, boot sequence, power management. CMOS battery continue. Your PC keeps this setting in a memory chip called the complementary metal oxide semiconductor. Jumper and dip switches. Jumper allow the computer to close an electrical circuit, allow the electricity to flow throughout certain section of the circuit board. And dip switches. Dip switches are designed with the same intention as jumpers. However, instead of having to remove the jumper block and placing it over separate two pins, dip switches are actual small switches which can be turned to the on or off. Jumpers and dip switches. Many of the motherboard settings that were set using jumpers and DIP switches are now either automatic, detected or set manually in the BIOS setup program. Firmware. Firmware is programming that written to the read-only memory ROM of a computing device. Firmware, which is added at the time of manufacturing, is used to run user program on the device. आप सब दोस्तों से गुजारिश है कि मेरा यूट्यूब चैनल सब्सक्राइब करें, लाइक करें